The city of Lagos, boys and dog, has all roots.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
We are one Nigerian.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV.
24-hour news station.
As Nigeria opens another chapter in our political history, of course, come 2015, just a few months from now, Nigerians will be heading to the polls and talking about the general election, the much talked about 2015 general election. We kickstarted yesterday talking about INEC's preparation and the much talk as regards the permanent voter cards in the FCT and other 11 states that have witnessed that registration exercise. Today we'll be talking deeper, looking deeper into the Nigerian politics as we look at defection and the justice for power. Politicians think of the next election, so Mr. President says, but statesmen think of the next generation. Now, the latest in the story of defection is the former ACN, of course, APC chieftain Tommy Kimi, who also contested to be the first national leader of that party, who declared recently that he is withdrawing from the APC. No one knows where he's heading to now, but many people are saying possibly he is going to be joining party and joining tent with the PDP. Before that, you heard about the former presidential candidate of the ACN, a former boss of the EFCC, Nuhu Ribadu, joining tent with the PDP. And of course, this time around, it's not going for presidency. He's contesting, attempting, of course, to contest PDP primaries in Adamawa State. Of course, if you think back also, you remember what transpired in Osun State, where the former governor, Olagunsoye Oilola, who actually was taken to court by Aregbesola in 2007 and was there for close to 3.5 years before Rauf Aregbesola was declared winner at the Court of Appeal in Ibadan. Also joined tent with the APC during that mega rally that preceded the August 9 gubernatorial election in that state. Before Osun, we saw what happened in Ekiti, the same thing with Segun Oni and several others. It looks as if people now change parties like the change clothes in Nigeria. I'm joined by a political affairs analyst and is also a lecturer at the Pan Atlantic University, Dr. Austin Oweze. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for finding time to join us today.
My pleasure.
Now, I want us to start with the relationship that exists between politics and service in Nigeria. In other climes, we think of politicians as servants, people who truly have the heart of service, and who also has a pedigree of integrity, who have served in, who have actually served and we've seen them serve. But in this part of the world, it looks as if what is characteristic of a politician is the pot belly and the bags of money to throw around. What is responsible for what exists in this climb?
The thing is that every nation should be able to form its own, what would you call it, evolve its own system of governance. And for us here in Nigeria, politics is a platform where people use to deliver or offer service to the people, okay? But unfortunately, right from independence, we have not been able to really sit down to articulate, understand who we are, what are our peculiarities, how do we evolve a political system that will augur well, that will suit our kind of people. Because that's where we have the challenge, okay? Now, you see, because people don't have jobs these days, and they feel that through the avenue of politics, they will now achieve their, whatever be their aim, especially be wealthy, okay? So politics has been seen as a means of livelihood, which is not supposed to be so. Politics is an opportunity and a platform used for people to offer service. And people put money before service. But it is always said that you put service, then money follows. But in our own climb, it is money, then politics. What has been is that also the kind of system that we run. Nigeria, politics, democracy, the liberal democracy that we pretend to run today, does not mix with poverty and illiteracy. And you ask yourself, you're running this kind of system. The kind of system we run is for a highly developed and educated economy, which is, for us, what is our level of literacy? There's a level of literacy that you need to develop an economy. We don't have that. We have 46% or 40-something% literacy level. And this kind of democracy requires a minimum of 80 or 90% literacy level. So you see the disconnect. People don't understand what the whole process is all about. They see it as a means of livelihood. And that's where we're missing it. The education level of literacy level of Nigeria is too low to be able to understand, even to develop the economy. So we need to begin to, and that's why sometimes even INEC themselves, they're supposed to use, after each election, to educate the people. In your intro, you heard about the permanent voters, this thing and all that. It's not now they should be studying. It's every time you can walk in anywhere and pick up your this thing. If you have not registered, you don't dedicate days. Lack of planning. So you find that Nigerians are not ready for the kind of democracy that we run. And that's why I made a submission via the Nigerians of management. We made a submission that we need to restructure the politics. Our suggestion is that, look, we need a collegiate presidency where you have people, because the major issue is the fear of one ethnic group dominating the other. It did not start today. So you find that our brand of politics is not suitable. I'm saying it. It's not suitable for a developing economy like Nigeria. It's too expensive. Okay? Monies that could have been used to develop, you use it to pay people that don't need the money. So you find that many people are lazy now. The easiest way to wealth is politics. In my state, for instance, there's no industry. The first cement industry in Calago Cement is moribund. It's closed, shut down. So nobody is talking about it. There's no single industry. The biggest industry is politics. And when you talk about politics, you find that you see a jobless man. You ask, what do you do for a living? He say, I'm a politician. And there's no election going on. You say you're a politician. You have no job. You keep moving, waiting for another round of this to know who you... You know, it's my last experience in 2011 when I contested the governorship of Ebonyi State. You know, it opened my eyes. You know, opened my eyes to see how depraved people have been, are. All because of what? Empty stomach. They want to fill it this.
Well, when we talk about the tussle for power in this climb, or especially under democratic rule, we have the saying that power belongs to the people. And you see what characterizes elections. People go there with lots of desperation, with lots of money to buy people over. What exactly has given this industry called politics such, economic value, such financial value in Nigeria over time?
Okay, not only Nigeria. Let's go back and talk about the early 19th century when Africa began to gain independence and all that. Now, what happened in the past is not just Nigeria, is the whole of Africa. There was this struggle for when the Europeans divided Africa into different parts and all that, and different European countries took over some parts. None of those colonialists prepared people on how to govern themselves. In fact, most of the countries the crisis going on today in Central African Republic, if you see how France left Central African Republic, in 1 month they gave independence to 13 countries. If you see how what France did in Algeria, all those places, see what Britain did, even Nigeria here. So our founding fathers, talking about Kwame Nkrumah of those days, talking about Mulumba of those days, talking about Nnamdi Azikiwe, talking about Awolowo, talking about all those people that struggled for African independence. They were only focused on getting rid of the colonialists. They didn't prepare on how, they didn't understand development. So, because it takes time for you to understand that. And the literacy level was very low. So, nobody could, even in the northern part of Nigeria, for instance, about 500 and something people, 75 people were literate. As at 1911. By 1924, they have reached up to about 1,000 or thereabout. Meanwhile, in the southern part, by that time, it was about 10,000, and it got up to 20-something thousand by 1924.
Now, so, talking about the literacy level, you also realize that even in Nigeria, not much of the elite participate in the electoral process.
There are two kinds of education that one needs. That you went to university, you can read and write, doesn't make you a well-educated person. No, it's just what the university does is to help develop your faculty, enable you. It's like a foundation. You add to it. You know, somebody mentioned about, I think it was John Adams, mentioned the two kinds of education are very critical for any nation. Now, education that teaches you how to make a living, okay? That's one that everybody acquires and all that. And then education that teaches you how to live, which is the most critical part. And that's why you see people, they have gone to university, it's like, why are you reasoning like this? They don't understand the world. And a black man everywhere don't understand the world. They don't know how to build nations. Okay? So you find that it's a big issue. Right from that time, struggle for power did not start today. So you find that people, even during the colonial era, people were struggling for power and all that. And they forgot development because they didn't understand it. They thought that even when the colonialists gave them, chance to govern, now, they were only interested in acquiring wealth for themselves to oppress the masses. And why am I going back then? The same thing has not changed. It's the same oppression of the masses, using the masses to get to power, and then using the same power you got to oppress the masses. Unfortunately for Nigeria and Nigerians, we have not had a leader from day one who is committed to Nigeria cause.
So what exactly is responsible
at a heart level
for that?
At a heart level.
What's responsible for that? Because given the number and the population of Nigerian people participating in politics, and then the tussle we see every now and then, people changing from one party to the other, is it a function of the quality of people we have, or there are no really good quality for leadership in this part of the world?
You know, the thing is that it's not that they're in the democracy anywhere in the world. It's not always the right candidates that win elections. It's not always. But in Nigeria's case, it's been so unfortunate that even the good people are not even given a chance, don't stand a chance. One, they don't have the means. Two, they don't have the financial resources. Two, they don't have other material resources that go with the elections. Okay, and then the kind of system that we're on with that is very expensive, and people of different characters that have been able to dominate, and I don't blame them. I blame the good people, the elite, because they didn't have confidence enough to come out at the time they were supposed to come out. So they left the political space for these characters, and now they are beginning to say, okay, maybe, because when the military were there, the good elite did not believe that the military will ever hand over. They made that mistake in the 60s, they made that mistake in the 70s, by allowing the likes of Shagari and all that to come to power, because they stayed back. When Obasanjo said he was going to hand over, they didn't believe. Even my illiterate uncle was able to get to House of Rep, Federal House of Rep, who couldn't read and write because the good people were afraid. In 1999, the good people stayed back. And all these opportunities, they stayed back. Now that these characters have taken over and entrenched themselves, it's now time for them to come out. And they're not going to give up easily. It's a fight, okay? It's a big fight. This decamping from one party to the other did not start today. Remember in the 50s, you know, during the time of NCNC, an action group, what happened in Lagos? How people in Ibadan, how people decamped, all because they didn't want Zik and all that, to, you know, NCNC members, and to go into this thing, okay? So, but the thing is that it was the likes of Adelabu, the likes of Tos Benson, T.O.S. Benson, and the likes of Adeniro Gusanya that had principle, okay? And these days, these people refuse to join the action group. They remain in NCNC because they believe in the cause of Nigeria. I've read a book written by this Adelabu, the one they named the street in this thing, okay? And Adelabu, you find that what this man, his own kind of people, he was not given that kind of opportunity. He understood Nigeria even better than Awolowo, if you ask me. Adelabu, he believed so much in Nigeria, a nationalist. But you find that they were not given that opportunity to be on the limelight and all that, to the Nigeria of their dream those days. And the same thing is happening today. They see it as jumping from whatever their own interests. Politics, after all, I define politics as an art of the possible and negotiation of interests. But where the personal interest supersedes the national interest, that's where the problem lies. So the crop of politicians we have today have personal interests overwhelming the national interest. Nobody, they don't care about you and I. They don't care about this nation. They care about their pockets. It did not start today. Okay? It started many years ago. And the same thing has been transferred over and over and over. And it's not going to take evolution to change.
What exactly was your own experience when you contested the Ebonyi gubernatorial seat?
Yes.
Some would have thought that if you really had the ideas, then you really wouldn't need much of money in your bag to tell the people and preach that gospel of change.
You know, the thing is that, look, in politics, after that election, I came out, you know, with some this and that. Money plays a whole lot, you know, in politics. Politics also the spiritual arm of politics.
How do you mean?
You know, okay, that's why people die. Okay, so you know, it's not something I can share on air like this, but there's a spiritual side of politics, because politics is like a calling. You're called to serve.
Okay.
Just like every other profession you're called to be, you're to do, and it's a calling. Okay. Some people are called to serve the people. There is so much money involved in politics. Okay, and then the personality of the individual is played down, not because of any other thing. What my own experience, I'm telling from my own experience, the people, during my campaign, going to different nooks and crannies of the Ebonyi state, people crying and hunger. And one lady in marketplace, she was a woman coming back from market. You can see how wretched. You can see poverty written over her. You know what she said to me? If I don't give her 100 naira, she will not vote for me. I said, no. I'm not in politics for me. I'm in politics to lift you up from your poverty. And that's what it's supposed to be. I cannot give you... Now, they ask for even biscuits, 50 naira biscuits, mineral, salt, Maggi cube, and all that. Rice, rice is even little things that you begin to imagine where did we get it wrong? And that's the point I'm making, that our literacy level is not enough for us to understand the brand of politics, that liberal democracy that we are pretending to be practicing today.
Where do you see the change coming from? Because many have said that every nation has the kind of leader that it deserves. Do you see the change coming from the top, or you see a radical change from the followership? Because the challenge here is that you're talking about illiteracy amongst the people. If the people are not well educated, they can't make the right choices. The leadership too is not taking, the right step in the right direction.
Yeah. No, there's a concept which I call the concept of the tragic hero in politics. That concept is such that something that Nuhu Ribadu is trying to do, and understanding the terrain within his constituency, and then jumping from one party to the other to get to, because all the political parties, well, except my own party, SDP, Social Democratic Party, most of them don't have ideology. And that's why they jump from one place to the other. But do you blame them? Because of the level of literacy that we have. We need a critical mass, and we're not getting it. Until we have a critical mass in the economic level, we will not make good policies economically, economic policies, and we cannot make other policies that affect the people. But the point is that you need a tragic hero being someone that came in through the wrong process and then decided to use his position to change things and bring about the things that, to better the society.
Is that possible? Get someone good from a wrong process and impact change?
Oh, yeah, because the political system is a wrong process. Don't take it from me. Every election is not won by votes. People casting their votes only. People will cast their votes only. But there are powers that determine who becomes president, who becomes governor.
What powers are you talking about?
Anywhere in the world. It's not just Nigeria. Anywhere in the world. Okay? So it's not just by counting of votes.
What are these powers are you talking about?
Well, we can talk about those powers later on, because one thing is that, let's face it, in every economy, even in Nigeria, there are powerful people that determine where the country should be going.
Okay.
And in a more civilized society that care about the people, these powers that be supposed to be the professional and the elite. Because elite in every society, will determine the direction that that society is headed. But our elites, there's crisis of values. Our personal value system, society value system is warped, is upside down. They don't know what they want. They're even afraid to take their positions. And that's why when people like us, when I joined, a lot of my friends said, you want to commit suicide? Going into politics is like committing suicide. I said, if I don't do it, my children will one day rise up, even against me. Because when their suffering begins, they don't have the tolerance level that we have. But the generation of my children they're short-tempered. They can easily they're growing up. I took my children to school. Yeah. They went to one of the best schools. By the time we come, they can't even afford to take their own children. And what do you think will happen? That they enjoy this thing. Why can't they provide the same thing for their children? And that's why Dr. Christopher Kolade told me some time ago, that his fear is that let it be one day that the masses will drive out all these people who have concentrated themselves in the tall buildings and all that. Chase them out of the way and take over.
Talking about the wrong process, giving birth to a new breed of leadership that can change things for good in Nigeria. Are you saying categorically that people like Nuhu Ribadu, like Tommy Kimi, like Sheguni, and the host of others are actually doing the right thing?
No. I don't know what Nuhu Ribadu has in mind. I don't know. Okay? And what he can do. Sheguni is already... these are people that feel that they cannot do any other thing. And when I came out of politics, I went back to work. That's what's supposed to be. I'm not a full-time politician. Nobody's a full-time politician. Tommy Kimmy has no other thing to do than to move around himself, who cannot even win an election in his local government. Do you understand that? Shegoni, without the right process, he may not win an election. Do you understand? Now they are jumping from one place to the other. Not that they have anything to do, but for their own personal interests. But what I'm saying in effect is that you can go through the process, okay? Let's assume that I believe, because that concept, I believe that that's what I'm going to do. The wrong system can throw me up, and I put things right. Because you need a man like me, a man like other people who are committed to this nation at a heart level.
That has been the intention of every leader, but unfortunately the system is always there because you have to be accountable for those that brought you there.
Yes, but you need to change. That's why I said that a tragic hero has the will to change things, the system that brought them, and reform the system. So they can.
And you think they can survive that system?
Of course.
The same system that paid the money, that financed the campaign, and then you come to power and they say you want to do something else?
No, but the thing is this. The thing is that you need to, it's a salesmanship.
Okay.
The leader has to do salesmanship. It's like selling your vision. When you come to power, by the grace of God, when I get to power as governor of Ebonyi State, I'm going to change a whole lot of things. I'm going to be the top salesman, selling my ideas, selling my vision. So that, because to change your people, you have to change the way they think. It has to start from the mind. So you need to reorientate the people so that they will begin to think differently. Without that, they can't move forward. So that is the concept of this tragic hero. So that because you need them. You need to change the system. You need to change the structure. You need to change the process.
It's all right.
You need to change even the people that you surround yourself with. Bring people that have the right intellectual capacity to comprehend, to think, get insight into how to solve problems. These people don't have ideas on how to solve problems. And that's why they are running helter-skelter, short-term thinking. Because you need to be strategic in your thinking. They don't understand it. They can't think deep. So that's why you can't solve problems without thinking deep about it.
It's all right. Dr. Austin Owuze is a political analyst and, of course, a lecturer with the Pan-Atlantic University teaching political economics. Of course, I just heard him say that he has a political agenda in Ebonyi. When you're ready, you bring money to Court Avenue so we can analyze your vision and, educate your people and enlighten them. I think that's the right step to take.
No, it's the right step.
So you bring the money so we can give the platform. Thank you for joining us in Cold Yesterday. We'll take a break now and we'll look at the legal perspective and the social dimension to this. I'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Nigerians continue to
Tonight, the city of Lagos once again be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
one Nigerian.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News,
Welcome to Core
a
TV.
24-hour news station.